I said, hey, yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy MoHodls, and we're back with another video. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is going to be everything XRP. We saw about a 7% move off the lows here, and it's all because of the recent ruling. Over here from James K. Phelan, Judge Torres has denied the SEC's motion to file an interlocutory appeal. And that right there is the smell of a defeat. The SEC has been absolutely crushed in every single way you can think of. They came into this space, didn't provide clarity, chose winners, chose losers, didn't even give a fair shake to anyone. And they took on a fight against Ripple, and now they're getting their ass handed to. It does not get better than that. You're even seeing Ripple here, Judge Torres, trending, which is very, very interesting. And I mean, this is what happens, right? The law of the land is very slow, but usually over time, it does eventually come to light. Now, of course, there's a lot of damages that pretty much are like unimaginable. And when I say damages, I'm talking about the opportunity of XRP thriving for the past 2 years without this lawsuit. It's really insane to think about where XRP would be and where Ripple would be as well, because Ripple is being held back to an extent, right? Because a lot of financial institutions in the United States, payment providers, hedge funds, are not investing with them, are not using their technology, or even working with Ripple, simply because they're under scrutiny of the SEC. They did not want to be under the radar of the SEC for doing X, Y, or Z with Ripple, or even for just buying XRP, whether it's a hedge fund or anything of that sort. And it's very, very interesting, right? And I will be talking more about this ruling here. There's other opinions from legal experts that I want to share here. I have tabs open from Brad Garlinghouse, Ashley Prosper, Johnny D, and Jeremy Hogan, all weighing in on what they think about this recent ruling. But I want to focus real quick on the charts, right? Because what you're seeing here is very, very interesting price action, okay? And I spoke about this before, and I keep talking about it every month because I want to pretty much point out to you guys the obvious. And for some of us it is obvious, and for some of us it isn't, right? XRP has been going sideways here for 2,093 damn days. It is literally a pressure cooker waiting to blow. And I don't know how else to explain this to anybody who really doesn't understand this. But all I gotta say is the breakout, when it happens, whether it's a downside or upside, and I personally think it's to the upside, and I'll be sharing more on that why. But when the breakout happens, it's going to be epic, because again, the fact that we've been going sideways for 2,000 days in this range, and this is definitely a range, because what you're seeing here is a failure of breaking the highs or the lows where the deviations take place of the range. And we also saw a retest of the high here perfectly at this level dating back to 2017. So ever since then, all we've done is chop in the range, and there has not been anything of interest that has taken place. In fact, XRP has failed to break down, and it is very interesting to see how this will play out. But I think it's very interesting that this has been consolidating for so long, right? But also, XRP is trading above this green box here. And how did I draw this green box? For beginners, it is your 3-month demand zone. And the thing is, this could technically be a demand zone or a supply zone, depending on where you look on the chart and how you use it. But right now, it is a very good level to focus on, because as you can see, when price is trading above this level, price is acting as a support, right, off that box. And when price is trading below it, what you can see is that it acts as a resistance, right? It's only until after breakout takes place that the roles flip. So when it's acting as a resistance and it breaks through it, it acts as a support. And you can see that very clearly here, right, in these areas. And of course, when it breaks through it, it acts as a resistance, like I've already pointed out throughout all these other examples. So right now, we are trading above the green box. Yes, we are trading in the green box, but we are very, very bullish, in my opinion. I am not one bit concerned right now until this green box breaks down, until we trade underneath this box. There's just absolute zero reason to be bearish on XRP right now, right? And a lot of people are not looking at the 2-week chart. A lot of people are not looking at this in a range. right? A lot of people are focusing on the goddamn 1 hour chart. They're looking at the price like this, like, oh, look, the interlocutory appeal took place. XRP is up 7%. But that's not important, because once XRP drops a little bit, they go back to the drawing board. They're scratching their heads. But all I've been repeating all the way back since, God knows how long ago, since I started doing this monthly analysis, is we're just chopping in a range. And that's really what it is. And even when we look at it from an Elliott wave perspective, okay? You have 5 waves up here that have completed over there, all the way from 14 to 18. We've gone down for pretty much about, about 2 years. And then again, slowly but surely, we have another 4-year move that, we see eventual breakout, right? So don't get this wrong. The first wave here, this started in July 2014. And it ended all the way in January of 2018. So that's pretty long, right? And even if we were to take that impulse in time, that's about 1,274 days. So if you were to take that same, distance, it wouldn't equate exactly, but simply because of this correction taking long and looking at it from a time perspective, right? Because again, when we calculate how long this wave 1 took compared to the correction over here, so you can see here that all wave 2 has to be is a third of wave 1 in order for it to qualify as the same degree. You can clearly see here that this could have ended here, or actually, in my opinion, I think it did end over here. That's actually why I have the 0 there. And then it started over here as a 1-2. We're seeing a complex move to the upside here, but I do believe that this is probably going to start going completely vertical. And even if we were to just say, okay, what does it look like if we get one leg up like we did back? Oh, oops, where did this go? Even if we were to get one leg up here like we did back over there, it would take us to $698 billion, which is approximately $10-12, right? So I mean, it's very interesting, right? But depending on the way we go up here, depending on what the subdivision looks like, there's a lot of factors and things and variables that you must consider in order for us to, retain bullishness, right? Because if we start slowly chopping to the upside, especially when the market is very, very bullish and altcoins are running, this is a lot of factors you must take into consideration. But the idea here is that for the most part, we are seeing a clear 5 waves up here that dated back to 2018. We saw a correction, and we're watching another series of 1, 2 play out here. And again, our third wave is underway with pretty much a micro count which I have drawn out here. I think we are watching a complex correction here for 2. And once it does play out a little bit more, I think I'll have a better grasp on it, because this is definitely, a complex correction from an Elliott wave perspective. But we'll have to see how that plays out. And I'm gonna be honest with you, right? You're probably saying, Mo, how are you waiting for something to play out? Aren't you supposed to understand? Sometimes when you look at this and you use range trading, you're looking at it from support and resistance. And when I also try to throw in Elliott wave to try to see whether or not it fits, I don't have a perfect count. And sometimes in trading, you're not going to have everything on all the stars align. This is the part that people don't show you sometimes, right? And I'm as honest as it gets. I mean, the Elliott wave count is not very clear, but I do believe once the breakout does take place, whether or not it's a breakout to the upside or more of a complex move, we'll know then, right? So that is as honest as it gets. And also looking at the XRP BTC chart, right? It's pretty much, again, been ranging for the most part all the way since 2020, and it hasn't really been that much of a move. But what I do think is interesting is that this was a high, this is a higher high, and since then we've had a low and then a higher low, a higher low and a higher low. So the question is, do we make another higher high here? That is a big question that I'm watching for. RSI does look good, and we'll have to see how that plays out. Excuse me. And other thing I want to show here is total, right? Because while the whole market for XRP and other alts do look interesting, I think that total is underrated, right? Because the thing is that, while I believe XRP is ready to run to the upside, looking at it from multiple different angles, I do believe that the rest of the market is also getting ready to gear up as well. Total is very bullish. You saw, again, the highs being taken. The lows have chopped everybody out. We've seen every type of FUD, Voyager, Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, all these guys and every single type of, catalyst play out. And it's only a matter of time we'll probably see a bigger move to the upside to take everyone else off and pretty much catch them off surprise, of course. And a lot of people out there still waiting for, I guess, lower prices. But for the most part on this channel, I've been extremely bullish. I've been accumulating as much as possible, all the way being back since August of 2022. It's on my Twitter, links in the bio if you're interested. But moving on to the ruling, right? Because this is very interesting, right? And I always like to talk about the ruling because, again, XRP was being held back from being, again, adopted in the United States simply because of the SEC's attack on crypto and Ripple and XRP. Now, of course, recently we saw that XRP was deemed a non-security, but at the same time, because of the programmatic sales, there's been this undertone of this may not be over yet. Maybe this is some institutions that are waiting to work with Ripple, but they don't want to do anything that may step on the heels of the SEC. So again, this right here, this ruling gets rid of every single kind of thing that you may be worried about if you were an institution, because again, the SEC's motion for the interlocutory appeal has been denied, which means the case either goes to trial or goes away. And again, the word settlement doesn't even exist anymore. And this allowed Judge Torres to explain her parts of the ruling to make it even better, making the appeal that much harder for the SEC to win. A disaster for the agency. And again, I'm not going to read all these things here, but this is pretty much very, very important because, as you guys understand, this is pretty much the killer, right? I'll read this one part. As stated above, the order did not turn on the fact that the programmatic sales were sold through secondary market transactions to retail investors. Rather, the court concluded, based on the totality of circumstances, that an objective, reasonable programmatic buyer was not led to expect profits from the efforts of Ripple, right? And that's pretty much the name of the game, right? People are buying XRP not because they, were expecting Ripple to make the price go up, whether that's off of their hard work or their, strategy, but it's simply because they just wanted to buy XRP for cross-border payments. And also, John D weighs in. He says, Gary Gensler, this is the judge. After listening to you gaslight the American people over expectation of profits, taking you to school on the Howey test. And he quote tweets Ashley Prosper here, who pretty much says, wow, Judge Torres is really not taking the SEC to school on the Howey test. Turns out the brush isn't so broad. And this is a footnote 5. Consider, for example, that programmatic buyers who, while browsing on a digital asset exchange, sees the price of XRP dramatically increase, but is unaware of Ripple's existence. If the programmatic buyer then purchases XRP from the exchange with the intention of later selling XRP for a profit, she would have purchased XRP with an expectation of profit, but the motive was not derived from entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others, as required under Howey. Slam motherfucking dunk on the SEC. Everybody in crypto has become a securities expert to some level, and it's funny because, again, this is a judge who had a little bit of a masterclass throughout this lawsuit, and again, this is amazing. I don't know what XRP holders need to hear or what they need to believe anymore. Our day is coming. Nobody's stopping that shit from happening. This is as good as it gets, okay? When the judge has spelled it out like this, has pretty much made it for everybody to understand in the most layman's terms, that is the ending of the beginning. And you can see, again, this is what Jeremy Hogan says. He says this is a disaster for the agency because it makes it harder for the SEC to appeal and win. And then Fred Rispoli says, the big win, 713, of course. But this was also pretty sweet. Options for the SEC are dwindling at a rapid pace. This opinion has always me with contempt from Judge Torres for the SEC for wasting her time in a disrespectful way. And again, he goes on here talking about other things in the lawsuit. But this is, again, showing more legal experts weighing in. And you have John Deaton, Ashley Prosper, Jeremy Hogan, all talking about how this is a very, very bad ruling. And they pointed out with facts and they use reason because, again, this is what it's about, right? We're not looking to have hopium. We're not looking to hear about something that makes us feel better. These are the facts. XRP is not a security, and they have been denied. That does not get better, right, than what we've seen today. And again, talking about innovation and adoption, this is from Brad Garlinghouse. Right after the ruling, he says, incredibly proud of the Ripple team. Just 4 months after we received our in-principle approval from Mass SG, and I think this was the Monetary Authority of Singapore, we've now secured the full major payment institution license for digital payment token services in Singapore. And this is amazing because, again, this means more adoption for XRP. This means that Ripple, the company, will continue to grow. And, guys, at the same time, we root for XRP, we root for Ripple too, because they're the ones being indirectly sued because they pretty much claim, the SEC, that XRP is a security of Ripple. So, a lot of us are rooting for both here because Ripple is fighting the bully, and to see them fighting the SEC, winning the lawsuit, and expanding their business, and not even feeling a flinch from the SEC is absolutely insane. And we all know here, guys, in this whole entire article, I thought this is very interesting. Pretty much talks about how Asia Pacific will continue to trend increasingly digital cash transaction volume, and is set to increase by 109% by 2025, right? And Ripple is focusing on this region because, again, the United States is falling behind. The lawsuits is dragging on for too long, and there's just so much drama taking place. And at the end of the day, Ripple's going to go anywhere they need to because they got a business, they got people around the world, talent everywhere, like maybe 10, 12 global offices, reaching 1,000 employees, acquiring businesses left and right. And we're seeing them also hand and laid a smackdown on the SEC. It's absolutely amazing. It does not get better than that. I appreciate you guys for making it to the end. Like and sub if you're not already. And as always, haro haro haro. Peace.